Hello, my name is Julia Adams, and I decided to do my project and book chapter on technology and how it combines with music. In this case, specifically through AI and machine learning programs, as well as simply machine-generated music. So here's a bit about me. I am a senior majoring in emerging technology in business and design, formerly known as interactive media studies. As a student of this major, I've always been interested in new technologies. So for this class, I wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to combine my interest with my other passion, music. So just to give like a brief history of technology and music, the idea kind of began in 1951 with Alan Turing, the father of computing and creator of AI, when he created the first machine-generated music. His initial intentions were just to allow machines to play notes and tones as indicators for completing a specific action, but by the end, he was able to create a machine that played God Save the King, as well as In the Mood by Glenn Miller. Since then, many notable new steps have been taken in order to innovate the idea of technology in music, such as in 1957, Lejeune Heiler and Leonard Isaacson programmed a computer to compose and create music. 1960, there was a whole paper published on algorithmic music and composing, just to show like how much influence the idea got in 10 years. 1973, MIT Experimental Music Studios created. It was a faculty dedicated to the constant research surrounding computer-generated music. They were able to kind of dedicate their research to real-time digital synthesis, graphic score editing, live keyboard input, other things such as that. 1974, the first annual International Computer Music Conference was held, just to show how many people were interested in the idea of technology creating music. In a more current climate, popular artists such as David Bowie, in 1955 or 1995, he helped program Ty Roberts to create an app called Verbazer, which took a literary source material and randomly recorded the words to create new combinations that could be used as lyrics. And David Bowie used it a lot in his songs. 1999, Shazam was produced, which was a program that is able to analyze songs and kind of detect which song is playing. It's also what Snapchat uses when you try to identify a song using that. 2017, an American Idol star created an album entirely through artificial intelligence. I discovered in 2019 a company called DataBots set up a 24-hour non-stop YouTube live stream that just plays heavy death metal music that's generated by an AI. I checked and they're still going even today. And many popular streaming platforms such as Spotify, for example, will use digital analyzing software to find trends in music and or in the music users listen to in order to improve recommendations. In order to get a better understanding of the different ways music can be created and used by technology, I looked into a few case studies, starting with Cox Communications. In order to get a better understanding of how technology is utilized in order to improve music production, they wanted to create an AI personalized for music for their advertisements. They wanted to improve their customer relations and believed that creating music specifically directed at their customers would help. They partnered with multiple other companies, including Spark Foundry, who were already comfortable using AI, and Music Technology, as well as AdsWiz, who had a platform to advertise their program on. Spark Foundry was able to create a program for Cox Communications that would change the genre of the music used in their advertisements according to the particular listener and the songs they listen to. Stated on their website that user engagement increased by 238% compared to before. So it could kind of show how that improved their user relations. The next case study, a group of researchers kind of wanted to perform tests using AI and machine learning in order to analyze music and how to possibly generate it digitally. So they would have a researcher train a machine by showing it a wide range of musical recordings, and the AI would attempt to categorize the music and measure how well each song fit. This allowed the AI to find patterns in the music, and the research believed that this application they made had the potential to create actual music based on the songs fed into it. My third case study is on a program called Ava they wanted to create an AI program that would create music based on specific requirements given, and they were able to. They created an AI and put it through strict reinforcement training where they fed data to analyze and decide how to classify it. If it was correct, they would allow it to continue making similar connections. If it was incorrect, they would adjust the way it processed the information. It is actually a free program that can be found at this website. I was able to visit the website and create a few songs with the program. And basically what you do is you specify the genre that you want and the range for tempo, so how fast or slow you want the song to go, how long you want the song to go for, and how many songs you want it to produce. And then it will make some songs in accordance with the specifications you gave. You can also go in to edit them yourself if you would like, just to make them a little bit more your own. But you can basically use an AI to create music yourself. After playing around with this AI for a bit, it got me interested in how I can experiment with technology that generates music myself. So for my project and book chapter, I used a program called Sonic Pi, which according to the website is a code-based music creation and performance tool. And the creator made it very clear that he wanted to provide people with a tool that could combine coding with music, essentially mixing technology with art. So my first impression of this program when I used it, it starts you off with a tutorial and provides pre-written lines of code, such as the one shown in the image. It gives suggestions on how to adjust the values, these blue numbers, in order to make it sound. So it'll give you each little section, and I combine the sections in order to write this code that creates the sound. So I wanted to kind of learn how to write the code myself. So the first thing I learned how to do was make tones and notes. So I wrote a line, play 65, and that creates this tone. And eventually I could combine them to make full chords, such as the one played here. And these are just the building blocks to making songs and sounds. There is a feature for a synthesizer, which allowed me to change the sound those tones were making. So as you can see here, use synth saw. And if you remember before, the sounds were kind of like a light piano, where this is more digital sounding. I was soon able to experiment with more of the effects. So I believe in this one, I used a loop, an echo effect, phase and phase slide on the first note, and I was able to make the last note release a little bit later, so a whole beat later. So after this, I kind of was able to create a little song. The song repeats a string of notes I threw together. So in this section, the second section here, you can kind of see different notes and how long it takes for them to play in between each other. I also added a riff to go along with the main melody, which you will also hear. I added a tone that was recurring. I used a synthesizer to include some choir ambience and added percussion in the form of like a light snare. that was the song that I created. After a lot of time and learning and experimenting with different pieces of code and adjusting the values, I was able to go from just adjusting a single tone to creating chords, rhythms, and I used these to make up songs. It doesn't sound like much, however, there's a big difference in the amount of lines of code that I wrote. While I wasn't able to create an actual AI program to write the music, I was able to produce machine-generated music. It was not written in the machine, but the songs were original and not pre-recorded. And the program was able to read commands written in the code and transcribe it into those musical sounds. Here's my works cited. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to my presentation.